es más que complacer a un cliente. Es un punto de venta conectado al Internet con fibra óptica de Spectrum Business, que registra todas sus transacciones de forma segura y es respaldado con servicio al cliente, las 24 horas del día, 7 días a la semana, localizado en los Estados Unidos y técnicos locales. Es todo lo que importa. Obtén Business Internet Advantage gratis, para siempre, cuando te cambies a Spectrum y obtienes 4 líneas mobile. Visita spectrum.com/free for life para más información. Se aplican restricciones. Servicio no disponible en todas las áreas.
Momento Zen ofrecido por IKEA. Encuentren su paz interior, ordenando su ropa interior. Que organizar cada cajón sea como una meditación. Organicen y solucionen su caos diario con un nuevo armario.
Visita IKEA y encuentra la manera de que tu habitación respire paz y armonía y tú también, con buena calidad y buen precio. IKEA, sueña sin medida.
What is up, Los Angeles, and welcome back to your Rams LAFB Show. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson, joined once again by the very special guest of the First and Tuna Podcast, Pierce DeLuna. Welcome back, and how we doing after this heart attack of a game?
Man, 1,000% never faltered. I absolutely was never nervous at all. Don't check the Twitter logs; those aren't real.
No, not at all. I mean, okay, so let's just touch on this game. It's been a minute since we've had you on, so welcome back. Always love to have you on with your great insights. You know, we don't have to talk about the Panthers. Let's just hop right into this game, because I mean, come on. So Caleb's insane 50-yard fling it up into the air, running backwards, off platform throw, landing in Cole Kmet's hands with, was it Cobie Durant that was kind of heading in the wrong direction at that point?
Yeah.
Anyway, take me through that feeling. Heading into overtime, they 3 and out. I think it's 3 straight runs on that drive. Where your head's at that point?
I think they even preface that just the entire the cold weather, the setting, the tough defensive battle. It's nice to see like the defense step up, because there's some times the last few weeks where a lot of fans have, and myself included, it's like, hey, what's going on? Like, why is it not as stout as it's felt to start the season? Mm-hmm. Game progresses, those 4th down stops, you're like, there it is. It's coming back. 4th quarter comes around. I started getting a little tingle in the belly, because this is what it was supposed to be. It's like who's going to come through in the 4th quarter, because these are both the teams that have seemingly been the best at finishing in the 4th quarter outside of a few Rams games. And then my God, that play, like you want to talk about playoff football and why we love it. You have the high of like, we took the lead, one more 4th down stop. Caleb's all the way back at the 40. This is over. Like, he's going to chuck it and something dumb's going to happen. The game's over. And I feel so bad for Cobie Durant, because he had 2 interceptions in the game. Yeah, and he played really good. And then that happens. It's like a great game goes out the window almost in a lot of people's perspectives. And at that point, I thought the game was over. I'm not going to lie, because of how incredible Caleb's play was, and how that we're going to talk about that play when I'm 75 years old. Like, oh man, that Caleb Williams pass is incredible. That's such a huge momentum shift that most teams lose. Like, you watch the Packers falter the week before. That's how it happened. An incredible play, and it's hard to get that back. So credit to the players, credit to Sean McVay to overcome all those things. Yeah, the 3 and out happens, and then the Rams defense said, we don't care. Like, 4th quarter doesn't matter. The overtime is what matters now moving forward, and Kam Curl stepped up and got an interception. So it's like, right when you think the Rams can't do it, they decide like, nah, we're not ready to go home yet. And it's nice to see. It makes you feel better heading into Seattle, I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, there is something about adversity and overcoming adversity throughout the season, definitely, but playoffs particularly. And I would say with this group specifically, with just how many young guys, there's 6 guys on the roster who were on the 2021 team, Stafford, Higbee, Havenstein, Alaric Jackson, Troy Reeder. I'm missing somebody or Alaric
Darius. you say Darius?
Oh, I didn't include Darius Williams. That's a good call on that one. Anyhow, a lot of young guys, a lot of rookie contracts, obviously, on this team. So, really first kind of time coming back and making a statement like that for a lot of these guys, it's just a feather in the cap, a lot of confidence as well, I would say, from that. You bring up the defense, kind of, maybe taking a step back from that early season dominance. I'm also going to throw Stafford into that conversation. And I wanted to have you on to talk a little bit temperature check. Also, just, how are you feeling about Stafford? The stats that he's put up lately, the advanced metrics, let's say, EPA per play, success rate. This was one of his worst games. He's had a couple of stinkers, including Atlanta in those terms. So, he's not really on a fantastic trend right now. What are your thoughts on Stafford coming out of this game, heading into a Seattle game where that defense is no joke, holding San Francisco, who obviously missing players, but that offense was doing well, held them to 6 points. What's your thoughts on Stafford specifically?
I almost want to throw out the endings of the regular season because it as much as I want to say it matters, it almost doesn't once playoff starts. Look at what Carolina did. Us Rams fans, we have such high expectations because since May, I mean, you were at training camp, the feeling is Super Bowl or bust. And with that comes people want perfection. People want the secondary to give up 0 yards. People want to sack every play. People want 500 yards passing. People want Puka Nacua to have 300 yards every single game like he did against Seattle. Yeah. And it's tough when I'll admit it too, when you're only scoring 17, heading into overtime in Chicago, you're like, what's going on? You do have to take a step back and look at what's happening. Like there's a reason why there's only 8 teams left. There's a reason why Chicago's still there. We can sit here and be like, the Rams can handle the cold, and we can't pretend weather doesn't play a factor. Combined with, I know they'll never say it, but is Stafford's finger 100%? Maybe, maybe not. Because there are some throws that you look at like, hey, I watched that get completed at like a 99% rate through the season, and now he's missing some layups.
Yes.
So you have a little bit of that. And then I have to throw in my biggest complaint from yesterday is the play calling. Sean McVay talked about it, where for whatever reason, I think halfway through the fourth quarter, we're at start of the fourth quarter, 30 pass attempts, and it was 10 rush attempts when the rushing was averaging almost 5 a carry, and Stafford was like right at 50% passing. So it's like him and McVay kind of have, they're like, I don't want to say ego, but they're like, I'll get it this time. No, this time. This is the time. This is the time. Rather than just like, okay, let's change the narrative a little bit. And they finally did in the fourth quarter and overtime. Temperature check. I've seen them walk into Seattle when Seattle has already been at its peak a few weeks ago and toss almost 500 yards. When it comes down to it, when you absolutely need them to be nails, look at that last throw to Devontae Adams on the sideline. I don't think a lot of people have caught the end zone view of that yet and how much of a pinhole that was placed into.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. As long as McVay adapts the run, goes back to 13, and they're able to establish what they want, I'm not going to sit here and worry about Stafford. I've seen too much this season of like he's going to get the damn job done.
Yeah. Well, you bring up the finger, and I kind of wonder if there is a different health ailment that is affecting him right now, whether that's the back, the finger, or something else. Because I think, going back into those late regular season games where he was struggling, he kind of looked, I would say, similar, not as bad as he looked tonight, but the cold probably had the effect. I think his back is probably not feeling 100%, just like looking at the way he's getting up off the ground after hits. He used earlier in the season, and maybe I'm just making this up, maybe you can confirm this for me. It seemed like he was a lot more he was popping up from those hits a little bit more easily. Post-game press conferences, he was just in a little bit better of a mood. I don't know. What do you think there's a possibility that injury is lingering there?
It always could be. Like, we didn't find out until after the season that he had a cracked rib following the San Francisco game. at the end of last year. It could be. I do remember after the Seattle game, he was wincing a little bit with the rib again. Yeah. And they played it off. Like he's like, I don't know, I just had to go to the bathroom. I don't buy it. There could be something there. It could be the LA got to 60 degrees and my knee locks up with arthritis. Like I can't. I'm limping when I wake up, let alone a 30-something-year-old quarterback that's getting hit over and over. It could be that. Thankfully, they don't have to play in 10-degree weather again moving forward. So even if that is the case, I think you address it moving forward. And even more reason to like, hey, you got 2 running backs back there, man. There's a point in the fourth quarter when they were marching down the field. It gets to 3rd and 1, and the O-line's been chunking away. They get a good run, and I see Steve Abel get up going like this, the sideline. Like, let's do that again. McVay goes play action. It's like, what are we doing? Like, make it easy for your old quarterback, man. Come on.
Yeah, 100%. I think, making it easier on Stafford. And I think really it looked like from the play calling, McVay just kind of wanted to win that game on one play, which we know you can't do. But, that he was reverting back to old play calling styles, going back to 2021 when they didn't have a running game to speak of whatsoever to win that Super Bowl. He thought that, he could take advantage of a Chicago defense that, coming into this, was not one of the lauded defenses. It's not Denver. This isn't Houston. This is, the Chicago Bears. But Dennis Allen, kind of playoff play calling for the defense. He's been, he had a pretty good showing the last couple of weeks. Oh yeah, these offenses down, and I was doing a radio spot, Green Bay Packers radio spot. For some reason, wanted to talk about Chicago football to see if the Rams were prepared to win this game. And they wanted to know about the other Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator for the Rams. What did he bring? And it's like he was pretty much brought in to revolutionize the running game. Going from the outside zone Shanahan stuff to the more the inside. Gap scheme blocking ideas there, and very successful. And to your point, Kyron and Blake Corum have been when called upon, they're picking up 4 yards. You go back to the previous game, both of them had a high yardage, a long rush of 8 yards. So not much explosivity in that game. But they're still the backbone of this team, I feel like, of the offense anyway. When things aren't going right, when Devontae isn't on the field, let's say, they can always look to that. And, thank heavens, in the fourth quarter, they go back to it and finally, find some success on that drive. And, I don't know if it's a pride thing or what it was for Sean McVay, but it was infuriating. And furthermore, I mean, I haven't looked up the specific stats on it, but 13 personnel, it didn't seem like they ran it that much.
It was low.
Yeah. And the rushing success rate out of that has just been insane this year, in the 60s in some games. And I saw somebody tweeted out that when in 13 personnel, rushing success rate, they're like historically high levels. And they're not explosive, but hey, you're moving the ball, I guess. I don't know if there's a question in all my ramblings here, but like, what do you see any reason why they got away from that?
I tried thinking, the Rams are really, they preach matchup. They're not really, which can be good and bad, because you're willing to be, I think back to those Belichick Patriot days, where their identity is, we're going to do what we need to do to beat you, and we're going to do it really well. If you're weak in this area, cool, we're going to beat the hell out of it. McVay will do that from time to time, and the defense does that as well. But then there's times where I feel like you can force your hand, especially when you're supposed to be better than the other team. Like if you walk into Tennessee, shout out, I got a buddy who does a Titans podcast. So no slight at them. I love Cam Ward, but you're just much better than that team. You don't have to play the matchup per se down to like, that helps you play down to their level. Like just do what you do best. force the issue, be the aggressor. And it seems at times he's late to the party in games to be the aggressor and change the narrative. Like he has his matchup, like what they want to do, their script almost. And that's where the pride and the ego calls from fans, him wanting to like do it his way until he can't really no more and it's crunch time. And then he kind of throws it out the window. Whereas in this game specifically, my issue with the play calling was, all right, if you're going to be under center and do the play action, one, you're not even using 13 personnel, which has been your bread and butter. I don't know why. I don't know what he saw in the matchup that he didn't like it. I thought the stretch plays were going to be hitting hard this game. He wanted to use play action over and over, but when there's no run threat whatsoever, the Bears were just teeing off on it. And yeah, they played playoff defense. They took disrespect to everyone saying, they're going to get eaten up by Puka and Devontae. Those are still NFL players. That's a final 8 NFL team in the playoffs. They're going to mix some shit up and play above their level. And they did. And it comes down to that. And where the frustration continues to build, like, I think I'm getting a little bit off track here, but from what I saw, you got that offensive game script. So then you get 3 and outs, you get incomplete. There's like no run. And then that hurts your defense because you're right back out there. And that's where the Atlanta game, the first Carolina game, almost this game, where once they start getting momentum, your defense is out there all quarter and you're not doing anything on offense because McVay just won't, like, okay, let's try to eat some clock here. Let's get back on track in a different way. Like, it feels like he wants to do it his way and he's convinced it will work until it's too late. And he's like, all right, cool. Well, I'll listen to you, LaFleur. What do you want? What do you think we should do over here? What do you think, Matthew? Obviously, I don't know if that's the case. I'm literally just guessing, but it's what it feels like at times. And you can't do that against Seattle. Seattle is the best team. I will say it. The Rams can be the best team at times, but I think right now Seattle is the best. That's the mountaintop. And I'll make an even bolder claim that you didn't ask for. This is, I think, will be harder than the Super Bowl. Whoever wins this game is a Super Bowl champion. I think you beat Denver and New England handily. I just really feel that way.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
I said the same thing last night with Aaron on my show as well, that the NFC Championship game is the Super Bowl, which is like my youth. Just to touch on the 13 personnel usage, last night 7.4%, just 7 plays ran by the Rams out of that personnel in the playoffs so far. 16.4%. Total of 30 plays. And that a lot of that was the fourth quarter, going back to that Panthers game. They turned it up in the fourth quarter, more specifically there. And then in the regular season, they were using it at 25%. So big drop off. Really, really interesting. Kind of confusing, right? You think back when Puka went out and they turned on that faucet, the 13 personnel faucet, things really, really started to look differently. And I just don't know why you would go away from that. I guess we'll see next Sunday.
This is why I'm not an OC. This is why I'm I'm on podcast. That's why I'm on this side of the ball.
Yeah, for sure. Other interesting things from the offense I wanted to touch on, just things that you brought up. McVay as an improv artist, I don't think it's his best I don't think that's his best trait. I think he likes to stick with what he knows the best, what he feels the most comfortable with. And then on the other side of the ball, giving a tip of the hat to both the Panthers and the Bears, playing against this offense, you have to play a much more aggressive style, a lot more man coverage. You got to try to bump those guys early. And then also sending blitzes, cornerback blitzes, Kevin Byard making a TFL.
Man. Brisker, they made some really good plays.
And I think, is there a playbook to slow down this offense? It's a very high risk playbook, but we've seen that when teams just kind of get after it like that, blitzing on first down, stuff like that. I think, we'll see what happens next week, I guess. But, let's hop over to the defensive side, and I would call it, they're the ones that saved the game, but, some highs and some lows. Who are kind of your game balls that you're going to give away, and who are you going to wrap on the knuckles with a ruler from the defense? Any thoughts on the defensive side, I guess?
It was some people were in my mentions earlier today from my because I like to react live tweet. I treat my Twitter as kind of like my journal for me to go back and look at, like, okay, let's talk about these. And even when, like, okay, you win and they right the ship, those things that I said during the game are still true. Like me being upset about, hey, the defense gets exposed at times because it just seems like some of the worst things they give up is like a guy just making a play because I'm better than you. It never really feels like a scheme problem. It always feels like hey, this guy is bigger, faster, stronger than the secondary. This guy in the trenches is just stronger than them. And it comes down to draft process, and that could be an off-season conversation because I could talk an hour about that. This game, I felt torn because I was so upset at times. It's like, man, just you'll get the fourth down stops, but it's like getting to that point felt like pulling teeth. I'm watching New England, I'm watching Houston make these like turnover after turnover after turnover, and then you see this where it's like, I need it right now. Eventually they got it done, but it felt like it could have been done sooner, especially on that fourth quarter touchdown. So my game balls go to Kam Curl. Had the best game by far. I think it was 12, 13 tackles. He was all over the field. He's blitzing. He's getting a game-saving interception, which leads to a game-winning field goal. Cobie Durant, I'll give him more than bad. Like, you give up one pass. If you want to look at it with a silver lining, it's snowing. The ball's up in the air like it's a damn punt. So it looked like he misjudged it, which happens in punt return. Yeah. Missed it in punt return, and people calling for PI. It wasn't PI. He just misjudged it. And that's a big ass tight end. That's a hard ask for an undersized corner. Yeah. But he still had 2 interceptions. That's big. And then Jared Verse needs some recognition, and Poona Ford. The run stops. There were some really incredible fourth down stops that really like got the blood going. And this defense did way more good than bad, despite all my tweets. Way more good than bad to keep this team in the game. Like, I was wrong in my prediction when I said this Rams team has to score 30 plus if they want to win a Super Bowl in every round. And they shut me up. They did the complete opposite. The defense won this game because Stafford and McVay were not on their A game whatsoever. But silver lining, Super Bowl teams have to win in different ways. So that's really good to see.
Yeah, 100%. I love that about this team. We're talking about, Stafford having maybe the worst game of this year, while the running games really stood up to the challenge. They had a curveball that they could add to their pitching arsenal. Defense didn't play great, but fourth down, man, they were ready and showing up. So multiple different ways to get the W. And those are teams that win championships, not, Stafford's not going to have a great game every week. So let's just hop over to this next game. And I just want to kind of get your temperature on, what are some key matchups, some, game changing things that might decide who wins this game. Sam Darnold's oblique, perhaps. Matthew Stafford's finger. I don't know. Round 3, Seattle Rams. What do you?
This will be the reason why. No slight at actually the AFC teams, despite the awful Bo Nix injury. That's one of the worst timing things I've ever seen in my life. Heart breaks my heart for Broncos country. This game, the reason why I say it's going to be harder than the Super Bowl is because we saw it in 2021. When you face a divisional foe for a third time, there's not really much you can hide and scheme up. You used your arsenal in those first 2 games. There's a reason why it went 38-35 in overtime in their house. These teams can go toe for toe. They match up. They're a great matchup against each other. Their D-line screws up 13 personnel. So if you're hoping to see that 13 personnel success, you're hoping McVay goes against what I said. He wants to do it his way and be play chess when sometimes you just got to get in a fist fight. Screw it. Like, just go out in 13. Make them stop it. Like, don't stop it on the chalkboard. Like, don't talk yourself out of it when it's working really well. Let your players prove they can do it or not, because you got some superstars. And like you talking about off script, JB Long said it best heading into Carolina it's about players, not plays. And I think McVay is really reluctant to play that balancing act. We see it on offense where it's like everything's very pretty and works. It's like sometimes, man, just let the players go fight. And that's what it's going to have to be in Seattle, because you know each other very well. It's going to be messy. It's going to be sloppy because guys know where it needs to be. Passes are going to get jumped. Quarterbacks are going to get hit really damn hard. And it's going to be if you can literally just outlast the other guy. Who can make that one play? Is it special teams? Is it a really dumb tip pass? Is it a backwards pass on a 2-point conversion this time? I wouldn't be surprised if it's another 2017 game, and it comes down to just who can make one less mistake than the other. Very similar to the NFC Championship game a few years ago. Obviously, Seattle is much better than that Niners team, I would say, on paper. But it's the same result. You know each other. Man, it's not nerve-wracking. It's kind of exciting because you get to see, like, all right, all this talk, we're here, like the 2 top DVOA teams or whatever it was, and both games came down to a field goal, and here we go, round 3. Let's see who's actually better. No more talking. Let's make it happen. Winner goes fight for it all.
Yeah, just to touch on some injury news, it sounds like Emmanuel Forbes is going to be fine for this game. It depends on who you are about if that's good news or bad news. Also, Byron Young was kind of limping around. Sean McVay says he should be just fine. He's just having some knee soreness. So good news on that. On the other side of things, Zach Charbonnet is going to have surgery. So just kind of when that running game seemed like it was kind of finding its footing against a very banged up 49ers team that can't really stop throwing against anybody, that's something I'm interested in watching for sure. So that's kind of the injury update for the game. I mean, I'm looking at Nick Emwanwori, who has been just kind of a defensive rookie of the year for this team. I
love watching his film.
I mean, the dude's pretty amazing. Can we go get one of those guys? Speaking of Kam Curl and Cobie Durant having really good, good games this week, who are you re-signing both? Are they letting either one of those guys walk? You kind of called the Quentin Lake being signed. What do you think on those, just to jump on Kam Curl?
I got called bias many months ago when I wrote about that. And I was like, it's not crazy. Like, that's just what the average will be. And it ended up being that number. So I was happy. I was like, yeah, one of my takes actually landed. That's cool. Yeah. I don't think Kam Curl goes anywhere. He works really well in the system. It's not so much on the back end. It's more on the boundary. And it's the position that this coaching staff is putting these guys in. And I'm going to talk about this heavily in the offseason once the Rams season does end, whether it's, in February or this week. The way they build this team, it is per capita the cheapest defense in the league. You're riding the high of really high plays like turnovers and sacks. But when you're not, it shows. You don't have the steady I'll put it in Madden terms. You don't have a lot of 90s on the defense. You got a lot of 70s and 80s, but with superstar traits. So that way on one drive, they'll make a big play. But there's like less consistency here and there. And it shows against these top teams. Like your weaknesses will get exposed in the playoffs. regardless of how well regardless if you have an MVP, Stafford's weakness will get exposed, things like that. I don't know. I think if they need to address some things in the draft to help those guys, if they're going to keep Forbes, if they're going to keep Durant, you can't rely on them just to be your saving grace at all, because you're kind of putting them in a bad spot where they're meant to be like, maybe a B role, maybe a slot corner, but you're asking them, hey, go cover the best guy in the league on their team. And every corner is going to say, I can do it, but you need some help too. You don't want to be the 49ers where it's like you're losing bodies. So it is good you're getting Forbes back. The Niners just let go of the rope at halftime because they just ran out of bodies, man. That's really tough. But off-season wise, I would like to see these guys back. I think they work well in it. You just got to reshore the reinforcements with some top talent, some blue chip talent to raise the competition level in the locker room, like make everyone else better, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think, whether Shula's there or not makes a big difference. And I think this offseason is going to be really interesting in that regard. I didn't think Landman was going to get a contract this year. I thought they were going to kick that can down the road. It'll be interesting to see how much they want to pay guys in the back end and who they draft. So, I mean, probably another one of those Rams off seasons where all of their tendencies that they've shown just kind of completely go out the window. And they already are kind of, with Quentin Lake re-signing a safety, that's something they've never done. And locking in Landman when they let, Ernest Jones go for a song.
Man,
we don't have to have that conversation.
We can, if you want to, we can have it right now if you'd like to.
Sure, why not? Where do you come down on that?
I'll do my best to keep it positive. Because I do want to talk about this heavily after the season. This is definitely an off-season conversation, but how it went down again, you will never hear exactly what happened. The only people that know are Ernest, his agent, probably his family, and then Les, Sean, and Kevin. No one really knows why. They have their reasons of like, we just thought it was best for the team, but best for the team of letting go of a guy who was a second-team All-Pro and was your captain and setting tackle records for nothing to Tennessee is very questionable to me. Yeah. If it's a money thing, he wasn't asking to be, Fred Warner money from what I heard. So it didn't make sense to me. And there was that void there until they got Landman. And as much as I love Landman, he's not the same kind of player. His strengths are very different. He's more based in the run stopping category where Ernest kind of does it all and in the right scheme. And it goes more my frustrations to the way they team build. They're willing to sacrifice in certain areas rather than like, hey, man, you got cap space. What's the fear of just taking a shot on a guy who maybe doesn't fit perfectly your narrative of how you want certain guys? Sometimes you need a guy who's like doesn't fit the same mold and is just the best player on the field. Because when it comes down to the end of the season, when the Rams are always playing for potential championships under McVay, it comes down to that. Like I said, again, players, not plays. You can scheme up shit all you want, the X's and O's, but you still need the Jimmies and Joes to go out there and just be better than the other team. And that Ernest situation is very confusing to me still. Like you'll never get an answer until like they're all retired and like on deathbeds probably. But I will be paying attention to that interview whenever that information comes out because it's confusing to me, very confusing. Because look at what he's doing up in Seattle, and now you got to go see him. So.
Yeah. Well, the only bit of intel that I could even offer to that is there was some concern with his injury, whatever injury thing he was going through in that season, ahead of that season even. So they were thinking that he wouldn't recover. So yeah, I'm still as baffled about it as you are. But it seems like they've between Quentin Lake and Landman, they were able to steady that ship well enough to where it seems like things are heading in the right direction for the defense.
At the right time. Yeah. At
the right time for sure. Yeah. How fortuitous that Quentin Lake was able to come back and make an incredible tackle with that bruised shoulder, that bum shoulder.
Man.
Yeah.
That was violent. That was really cool. I'm not sure how familiar you are with his father's game, like any of his like history up in Pittsburgh.
Well, he invoked his father in that tackle. He said he had to tap into his inner Carnell Lake, which can't be that hard. Half his DNA.
I didn't know because I don't hear everything from the press pool like you do. But I wanted to say something of like, dude, he must have made his dad so proud with that play because that was just pure like, I'm hitting this guy with everything. And I thought he was going to score because he leaped over Darius and then he's just drilling him in the air. I was like, oh my God, it's what you re-signed a safety for. Like, it was so fun to see. I love that so much.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It needs to go in like some highlight for like the opening of a Madden game or something like that. It needs to go in. It's just I haven't played Madden in 20 years, probably more than that. But anyhow, that's all we've got. Special thanks to Pierce DeLuna. Go check out the First and Tuna podcast. One of the great guys out there doing good work for this team. So definitely go check out what he's doing over there. Anything else to promote? I mean, drop your Twitter in here as well.
Oh yeah. Follow us on Twitter for Rams stuff and some nonsense when it's a little all over the place, but mostly Instagram. Follow us on First and Tuna over on Instagram. A lot of fun, or just, follow us on YouTube. Our morning show is right now during playoffs every morning at 7 a.m. We're live streaming and just me and my co-host, Sheriff Joe Baggs. We're talking Rams. It's fun.
Sheriff Joe, I dig it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we will be back. The Rams LAFB show will be back with Aaron Coscarelli with the practice report on Wednesday. That'll be the first one. Until then, folks, thanks for tuning in.
Ramley, thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching the Rams LAFB show. Quickly before you go, got to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. It's the #1 sports app right now, and you've got to download it because it's got so many great features that I want to tell you about. Aside from season-long fantasy, which is the best in the business, they've also got live score trackers, in-game updates, plus the live chat where you can actually communicate with other users right on the app. But perhaps the best feature, at least that I like, is the daily fantasy feature or the live pick'em. Just pick 2 to 8 players across any sport: baseball, basketball, hockey, obviously football and our Rams. You're going to choose a player, just choose more or less. Matthew Stafford, more or less passing yards. Kyron Williams, more or less rushing yards, more or less touchdowns. 2 to 8, you can win real money. So when you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code RAMSLAFB, and Sleeper's going to give you a match bonus up to $100. So you deposit $100, they're going to give you $100 free. You're now sitting at $200. You put in $10, they're going to match you $10. You're now sitting at $20. But on top of that, right now, Sleeper is offering all new user signups a $20 free entry, no deposit required. Go sign up. You're automatically invested $20 straight from Sleeper. But you can stack that offer with that match bonus offer to add more money. Just make sure to use that promo code RAMSLAFB. Go check out Sleeper. Download it today. Tell them the guys at the Rams LAFB sent you. And as always, Ramley, thank you so much for making us a part of your day.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.